Hey there, it's Nathan here with another honest review. Today we're going to be reviewing this chair right here. It's the Herman Miller Logitech Embody gaming chair, which retails for £1,300. So let's take a closer look.
We're going to start at the bottom here, which is obviously where the wheels are. And this is actually made from a die-cast aluminium. I have to say this is actually probably one of the more premium areas of the chair. And we've got here the adjustment for the front part that goes backwards and forwards. You do need both hands for it, and I'll show you in a little bit in terms of how that works. We've got the side here of the arms that can be adjusted with this button here. Again, I'll show you in just a few seconds, but this does move around. It's quite plasticky as well. We've got the core seat here, which has got a layer of foam. Just feeling here, it's got slightly more foam than on the back. It's got a slight sponginess to it. Just underneath here as well, there is a layer of foam to go with it. And again, we've got more of the arms here. We've got the adjustment down here, which is for the seat to go up and down. So yeah, you can see here, it's a bit plasticky though. As you can see, a lot of play, which doesn't really seem that premium. We've got some more adjustments here. So this is for the back fit system, which I'll show you later in the video. Again, a lot of play as well. The back, I've gone for the blue design here, which is essentially some layers of plastic with part of their back fit adjustment system in here as well. I have no idea, sadly, why this has been included. It's a nice tag that just says Logitech and Herman Miller collaborated on this chair. Yippee. Down here, we have the tilt lock system, which again is made from a cast plastic, but a lot of wobble. And speaking of wobble, when I get up with this chair, you will notice actually that there is a lot of movement. So when I move it back and forwards, the seat actually rocks forwards, which is slightly odd and not the most sturdy thing. One thing that really bugs me here is this G symbol here to symbolize the Logitech gaming. Now, I don't mind that so much, but it's just a bit irritating because it doesn't actually need to be here. So let's get into the main video.
Unfortunately, the arms don't go backwards and forwards as you find in chairs such as the Aeron. However, they do move in and out, but again, this is incredibly clunky and plasticky sounding, which I'll just illustrate now. And you can do this by moving the arms to the left or the right. So when I push them out, you hear a snap, which means that it's further out. And when you want to push them in, you'll hear several snaps there. What I find is that actually this, if I hold it like this, it requires a lot of force. It doesn't sound natural. Slightly weirdly, I've observed if you just lift ever so slightly up on the arms and move out, you then don't get the slight snapping into place. But again, to be honest, it feels like they could have done a little bit extra to do this. And I'd probably say that there's about 4 different areas that you can move these arms to. And again, this does mean that because there is no system on here that stops them from moving about, so no locking system, you could very easily just find your elbows, accidentally move them. Okay, that took a bit of force, but hopefully you get the idea there. Moving on to the next area that you would want to customize, it's going to be the seat height. Now, this actually took me quite a while to figure out because usually, such as in the Aeron and many other traditional chairs, there tends to be about one lever to alter the seat height, and it's quite obvious. Believe it or not, it's actually with this, what I call it, a little joystick underneath the chair. And as you can see, it's quite flimsy and it's not completely obvious what happens. It just happens that actually to lift up will make the seat go up, and to push down makes the seat go down. I'm not sure why you can actually move the joystick forwards and backwards. I did think perhaps that had some other purpose, but it doesn't. But hey, that's just how you do that. One area of the Embody that you can customize that's quite different to the Aeron and many other chairs on the market is in fact the under-knee support, a bit like you would actually find in quite a high-end car, for example. And to do this, you have a couple of levers, one on either side, to move this section underneath forwards and backwards. And Herman Miller recommend that you keep about 3 fingers width between the back of the chair and the back of the knee, which I really strongly recommend. When I push this to the front, it feels like my legs are in a very weird upright position. When I push it further back, it feels like I'm about to fall off the chair. And again, a bit like with the armrest, this is quite a clunky system. And one of the mistakes I made early on was to have my knees and my legs fully resting on the front whilst trying to adjust these sides. They just don't move very easily, to be honest. So actually what I found is when I lift my knees up, and again, this is actually what Herman Miller recommend once you read into the guidance, you can move this section backwards and forwards. The next area of adjustment is the tilt lock, which you can find in the gaming chair right here at the back. Now, I understand that with the original Embody chair, this may be in a different location. On the Embody chair, the way to do this is you either have at the very bottom, unlimited tilt, at the very top, no tilt at all. Or if perhaps you like to have that lock somewhere in the middle, what you do is you push this to the unlimited tilt, you then select the tilt that you would like, you then lock this in place, forward, and you'll find that there is a lock. Now, I'm not sure if this is just my model or in general, but I have found that it's not always consistently applying in the spot that I like. Again, on the Aeron, this feels super, super easy. On this, it feels like perhaps they've overcomplicated it. There's 4 sections when I'm cycling through the tilt lock, when I could only really see that there are 3 areas of adjustment. Now, the final area of adjustment, which is the Embody's party trick, I like to think, and that's the back system here. And this is, to be honest, probably one of the key attraction points to the Embody, is the design and actually how it looks like a spine. Herman Miller have created this system, what they call the back fit system. It's a trademark patented system, a bit like posture fit in the Aeron, where you can alter the adjustment of the back curvature to your spine, which is quite interesting. And you can actually control it with a lever right here at the back. It feels very rubbery, weirdly. And what happens actually is if you turn this clockwise, the back of the chair curves upwards into the spine. So what I find is that when I move this to the maximum, I feel like this is hugging my spine and the top of my shoulders quite tightly. When I undo it, I find that it's becoming a quite looser fit, a slight tilt back and almost a slight widening going on there. I don't think I've truly found the fit that works best for me, but it's a really interesting area to actually customize. And again, if we just take this back and compare it to something like the Aeron, it just feels like it just gives that slight edge in terms of the amount that I can curve the back in, which I know for so many people, this will be invaluable. What you find with the Embody gaming chair as well is that it's actually designed for people of all shapes and sizes. So again, we look at things like the Aeron, for example, and that's made in 3 different sizes. The Embody is actually made in 1 core size. So for me, coming from a size B in the Aeron, I find this a little on the wide side. And actually, I find that from a posture point of view, it almost allows me to have some rather unusual postures. So for example, if I'm leaning a bit to one side like this, it actually does not feel as uncomfortable in the Aeron that really punishes you for that incorrect posture. So I find here I can slouch a lot more. I've even heard stories of people being able to sit with their legs up, for example, and you can really get into a variety of positions. It probably suits more people coming from a regular chair, but when I'm comparing this to the Aeron, it just feels that I'm moving a little bit around in the seat, which is okay, but I do find that some of the back pain creeps in. So there's a couple of key differences that when we look at the original Embody versus the Embody gaming chair. Now, if we take a step backwards, here in the UK, the original Embody actually isn't for sale via Herman Miller directly. And I actually inquired with Herman Miller about this, and the primary reason is because of the materials that are made are not suitable under some UK fire and regulation rules. And I know Herman Miller have been trying very hard for a number of years to push this through, but no luck. And with this, you then have a slight gap here. So in the UK, you can only buy this, the Embody gaming chair, in black or black with blue turquoise color as well, versus other territories such as in the United States, where you can actually buy the core gaming chair plus the original Embody, which for me, part of what made the Embody so different to the Aeron is the amount of color choices. You just have a look at the Herman Miller website in the US, and you'll see the amount of different color combinations you can have that really make this chair stand out. I find here our choices are incredibly limited, where it's essentially black or black with a little bit of color. And this to me really detracts from it being that premium product. It looks nice, sure, but it does not look like a chair that cost me over £1,000. And again, I'm sorry that I'm using the Aeron so many times here, but I think that's truly the best point of comparison when we're talking about premium chairs. And that, to me, you look at it and you think, this is almost a work of art, something that I can feel proud of. This chair feels like, it's a nice chair, sure, but I don't really see much of the appeal beyond it from a design perspective, I'm afraid. The other thing to factor in as well with the Embody Gaming versus the original Embody chair is a couple of the customizing functions, which I understand include the tilt lock and the back adjustment as well. But one feature that Herman Miller quite nicely point out on their website is the gaming chair includes added foam. I've been fortunate enough to actually sit on a regular Embody chair in the Herman Miller UK showroom, and let me tell you, the extra padding does massively, massively help. Now, as I showed earlier in the video, there is a layer of foam underneath. Herman Miller described this as being a two-tiered spring system with the extra layer of foam, which is ideal for gaming. I'm still not quite sure what a gaming chair versus a regular chair core is meant to be, because to be honest, I'm going to be sat here gaming or working all the same. My posture should not really alter depending on the task I'm doing. Would I recommend buying this chair? The answer is an unfortunate no, I would not, sadly. This is for a few reasons, and the first one is that price tag. At just over £1,300, this is almost beyond premium for an office chair versus what you get. I think for a lot of people, you're going to sit in this chair and your first impression is going to be largely positive. Again, compared to the Aeron, that's a chair that you really have to get used to. This chair with the Embody gaming chair, I feel that you can sit on it and you get used to it very, very quickly. There's far less of this wearing in period that I've mentioned before in my other videos. And what I also find with this chair is that, again, there's just so much plastic. The arms are plastic. There's plastic everywhere. To be honest, the only bit of metal that I can see is actually down here where the wheels are. And that, to me, is really disappointing for a chair that costs so much. It would have been nice to see a few other color options or a few other areas that you could have customized. And again, when you look at things like the Aeron, you can have stainless steel and chrome options and different padding on the arms. With this, you can't. So it does all feel very plain and static, to be honest, from a chair perspective. What I would encourage, as with many of the other chairs, is it's definitely worth you going to have a sit on if you are in the market for a premium chair. Don't look at this as a gaming purely chair, because again, there is nothing specific about this chair that makes it specific for gaming other than additional padding, which I think everyone could benefit from. I'd really highly recommend you actually take a step back and look at my other video, which I did on the Aeron, and use that as a comparison. I'm hoping in the coming days to actually do a side-by-side comparison of this chair and the Aeron chair, which I still have, which should give you a bit more of an insight into how the two compare. Thanks so much for watching another honest review. I hope you've enjoyed it. So if you've got any comments, leave them down below. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos. Thanks very much and see you next time.